Midnight call from myself, silence. Has a voice. Ali had always found comfort in silence. His modest apartment in upstate New York offered a peaceful reprieve from the chaos of life. His job in IT support was repetitive but predictable, just the way he liked it. He wasn't antisocial, but solitude suited him. Video games, coding projects, long walks, and music, they filled the spaces where noise might otherwise intrude. But lately, silence had taken on a weight, a presence. Doors creaked, open, lights flickered. His smart speaker glitched, playing distorted music at 3 a.m. sharp. Each time he told himself it was a technical glitch, or maybe stress. But the unease lingered. That was, until the call. The first call, 3 a.m. The phone buzzed violently on his nightstand. Groggily, he glanced at the screen. Incoming call. Ali, me. The air around him turned cold. Trembling, he answered. "Don't wake up," said a distorted voice. His voice. "If you see it, you won't live." Static followed. Then silence. Ali sat frozen in bed, the phone still to his ear. The call had no log entry. He didn't sleep that night. He kept every light in the apartment on. Residue. The morning sun offered no warmth. At work, Ali was a shadow of himself. He told Rehan, his closest friend and colleague, about the call. To his surprise, Rehan didn't laugh. "There's a woman I know, Fariha, paranormal researcher. She's helped people before." Ali wasn't convinced, but the voice, it had been his, perfectly his. He couldn't explain that away. That evening, he met Fariha. The mirror ritual, Fariha listened intently. When Ali recounted an old college memory, a mirror game at a derelict cabin, her face darkened. "You invoked the mirror channeling ritual. Mirrors reflect alternate realities. You may have opened a connection to your alternate self." He laughed nervously. "That's not real. It's real enough. And if your other self is reaching through, it means one thing. It wants out." Ali shivered. The words felt like a verdict. Echoes of me. That night, the reflection in his bathroom mirror didn't match his movements. His hands were still. His reflection raised its arm. He screamed. "KM came." The phone rang again. "You shouldn't have answered the first time," his double whispered. "Now the door is open. I can almost step through." Ali threw the phone across the room. Distortion Fariha brought over devices, EMF sensors, sound recorders, and a strange mirror with symbols etched into its frame. They set up a ritual. Ali was to sit before the mirror at 2:59 a.m. and call his name 3 times. On the third call, the room vibrated. Lights flickered. His reflection split. 2 versions of him stared back. One smiled. "Come here," it mouthed. Ali passed out. The Tio. Other side, he awoke in a near-identical apartment, but the walls were the wrong color. His phone had unfamiliar apps, and old photos showed moments he never lived. He checked his email. His job didn't exist. Rehan didn't respond. He ran outside. Nothing was the same. A call came. "Welcome," the voice said. "You're in my world now, and I'm in yours." Ali realized he had switched places with his double. Double lives. Ali tried to blend in, pretending to be his alternate self. But the rules here were strange. People were colder, shadows seemed to move independently, and mirrors were covered in public spaces. He found a version of Fariha. She didn't recognize him but believed his story. She began testing ways to open a portal back. "Your body is still tethered to your world. We just need to rip the intruder out." Mirror duel. Back in the original world, the false Ali had taken over. But Fariha noticed the difference. He was colder, emotionless. Wrong. She tricked him into returning to the ritual site. At exactly 3 a.m., both Alis appeared on opposite sides of a ritual mirror. Only one could answer a question only the real Ali knew. a memory of his mother's final words before she passed. The real Ali answered. The mirror cracked. Screams erupted as the imposter's body was sucked into the mirror's void. The scheduled call Ali returned to his world. Everything was normal again, on the surface. But the shadows moved a little longer. His reflection lagged by a second. And every night at 2:59 a.m. he woke up, waiting. Weeks passed. Nothing. Then one night, incoming call, unknown number. He answered. I'm still here, the voice said, and I'm not alone. The call ended. Then, call scheduled. Tomorrow, 3:00 a.m. Beneath the glass, the following day, Ali couldn't focus. Every mirror in his apartment stayed covered, but he still saw flickers. Dark shapes darting just behind his peripheral vision. He reached out to Fariha again. I thought we closed the portal. We did. But sometimes closing one invites others. Something else might have come through. Something worse than your double. That night he waited with a hammer and every light turned on. 3:00 a.m. came. The call rang. He picked up. You broke the rules, the voice said. Now we're not just watching. Every mirror in the apartment shattered at once. Fractured realities. The shards of glass lay scattered across the floor, but each one still reflected something different. Different angles, different movements, and in some, different versions of Ali. One fragment even showed Ali asleep in bed, despite him being wide awake. Panicked, he swept the shards into a metal box and taped it shut, but he couldn't unsee the visions. Fariha arrived early the next morning. She examined the fragments. These aren't just broken mirrors. They're portals now, like windows into parallel realms. Ali backed away. So what do? We close them, all of them, before whatever's on the other side decides to cross. That night they began a ritual, a mirror banishment rite. It required Ali to look into each fragment and name the world it reflected. As he spoke the first name, the fragment hissed and turned to ash. But on the fifth shard, a voice screamed from inside, You can't erase us, we're you. Ali dropped the shard. It didn't break. It pulsed like a beating heart. The reflection wore Fariha examined the shard again. It's sentient, she whispered, or controlled by something sentient. Ali placed it in a lead box. They had to stop. That night, Fariha did independent research, digging into ancient texts about mirror realms, worlds layered like reflections of truth. There's a term, she told Ali the next morning, specular inversion. It means a being can invert its nature by passing through layers of reflection. Your double wasn't the first. He was just a scout. Ali felt sick. There are more? Yes. They're watching. They mimic. And once, they have enough of your essence when your fears memories. They don't need a mirror anymore. That night Ali heard laughter, not from the phone, from inside his apartment. Eyes without a face. Ali and Fariha set out to destroy the remaining mirror shards one by one. Each ritual burned more of Ali's strength. Every time he named a reality, he felt a piece of himself draining away, memories fading, emotions dulled. One night, Fariha gasped mid-ritual. A shard had shown her reflection, but without eyes. They've seen me, she whispered. They've marked me. That night, she vanished. Ali found her phone buzzing on the floor, one missed call. From herself. Now alone, Ali started seeing things, not just in reflections, but in windows, puddles, even dark computer screens. Faceless versions of himself. Standing in silence, a voice returned to the phone. You're almost ready, it said. Then we'll become one. Ali screamed, but the voice only laughed. The countdown to 3:00 a.m. began again. The convergence Ali stopped sleeping. Every night at 3:00 a.m., a new version of him appeared in some reflective surface, more decayed, more monstrous than the last. Some wept. Some screamed. Some simply stared, but all of them whispered the same thing. Soon, the lead box began to hum. The pulsing shard inside was glowing, veins of red light stretching from it across the table. Ali called Rayhan. He needed help. But Rayhan's voice was different on the phone, slower, deeper, not quite human. "We've already spoken," Rayhan said. "Don't you remember?" Ali hung up and rushed to the mirror shrine Fariha once used. There, he found her journal. A final note scribbled in shaking handwriting. "The convergence is the final phase. When all versions align, the real you will fracture. Fight. Do not let them complete the circle." That night, every mirror, screen, and piece of glass in Ali's home reflected the same thing. A circle of Ali's, holding hands, chanting. He screamed. Outside his window, his own face looked in. The glass maze Ali knew running wouldn't help. But instinct took over. He bolted from his apartment and ran into the night only to find that every reflective surface around him was showing something wrong. Distorted buildings, twisted versions of himself on the street, car windows flashing, grins without eyes. He turned a corner and found himself in a park he didn't recognize. At the center stood a massive structure, a maze made entirely of mirrors. Some broken, some whole, some vibrating. A sign above the entrance read, "Face yourself." He hesitated. But the chanting from behind grew louder. They were following him. He entered. Inside, every corridor was lined with mirrors. Some reflected his childhood, others his regrets. He passed a mirror where he watched himself push Rayhan in anger. Another showed a young Fariha laughing, then suddenly screaming. Voices came from within the glass. "You opened the door. You let us out. You are us." He reached a central chamber where a massive, pristine mirror stood. Instead of reflecting him, it was black. As he approached, his reflection faded in, but not quite right. This version had no mouth and bleeding eyes. It stepped forward. Ali screamed as the glass rippled. Then the mirror pulled him in, between worlds. Ali awoke in a place that was neither light nor dark, a liminal zone of swirling mist and jagged reflections. He floated above shifting shards of broken glass, each one showing a different version of himself. Some noble, some monstrous, and some barely human. He was in the mirror between, the space that connected all realities. A voice spoke from everywhere and nowhere. "You are the nexus, the sum of all your parts, the key to the gate." Ali turned. Before him stood a composite version of himself, a patchwork of every variant he had seen. It smiled with too many teeth. "Choose," it said. "Embrace us and unify, or shatter into endless fragments." Ali fell to his knees. The glass beneath him showed the real world. Rayhan calling his name, Fariha's journal still open. "Help me," Ali screamed. "No one can help," the creature said. "But you can help us. We only want to be whole." Ali's hands began to blur, his skin turning translucent. He felt pieces of himself breaking away, but then, a whisper in the mist. "Remember who you are." It was Fariha's voice. Ali stood. "I won't be your vessel." He punched the ground. The entire mirror between cracked. Shards of identity. As the mirror between cracked, a blinding white light engulfed everything. Ali felt himself falling. Not physically, but through layers of memory, emotion, and time. He saw every version of himself breaking apart, fragments spiraling into the void. Each shard carried a truth: his anger, his kindness, his jealousy, his hope. Versions of himself that never made the right choice, that never found love, that never forgave. Then, silence. Ali landed on solid ground. The world was still. All the mirror shards floated around him in a slow orbit, like celestial bodies. In the center, a throne made of mirrors sat empty. A voice echoed, "Take your place or let another rise." Ali stepped back. "This isn't power. This is a trap." The mirror throne pulsed. Suddenly, the composite version appeared again, but fractured, weakened. You've disrupted the convergence, but you haven't stopped it. We will try. Again. You are the crack through which we return. Allie reached toward the floating shards and spoke aloud the names of each lost self. Allie the coward, Allie the liar, Allie the survivor. One by one, they turned to ash. He approached the throne. I don't want this, he said, but I will guard it. No one else comes through. He placed his hand on the throne. The entire mirror realm exploded in light. Allie awoke, gasping, back in his bed. It was 3:01 a.m. No call, no shadows, only silence. The Glass Watcher. The days that followed, Ali cautiously returned to normal life. He reconnected with Rayhan, took walks under the sunlight, and avoided anything reflective. The haunted silence that once stalked him seemed to lift. But there were small things, details that didn't add up. A misplaced scar on his left hand, Rayhan's memory of events slightly different from his own, and a whisper in the wind when he passed by store windows. Then, one evening, a child pointed at him on the subway and said, "That man is made of mirrors." Everyone laughed, but Ali froze. He rushed home, locked the doors, sat in darkness. And then the call came. Incoming call. Unknown number. He stared at it. The seconds ticked. The phone didn't stop. With trembling hands, he answered. "I see you," a voice whispered. "You left the gate open, Guardian. And now, we watch from the cracks." Ali screamed and dropped the phone. But this time, the screen didn't go dark. It showed his reflection, smiling,